we've got extremely good set of customers in our micro vertical space. So our specialization is micro vertical and industry. That's one of our strategies. Whatever we do, you will see this flavor in whatever we do as a company in Infor. The second one is very interesting. It is architect for speed, change, and choice. Nobody has heard the internet go down. Maybe sections of it go down, but the whole internet has never gone down. Same way, in a solution stack, if something goes down, doesn't mean that the whole application for the company should go down. So we are looking at great, very innovative ways of interacting, interfacing with products in which our integrations or our capability or our middleware, as we call it, is being very, very innovative and with global standards or worldly accepted standards that we're building, which is what a big difference to our customers. Beauty as a competency. This is again something that is being something we specifically give focus to. Nobody trained us on Google or on Twitter or on Facebook. I think the future is getting there with the enterprise solutions. We are expected to not look at green screens with black alphabets or basically very, very dull screens. What we are looking now, expectation from users is changing. They are now asking for screens or an application that will actually capture all the conversations that they're doing. So our objective as Infor is to focus on beauty, simplicity, and ease of use. That is, these are the three strategies that we are bringing across into all our products in the Infor stable. Coming to one of the last slides on Infor, we are specialized by industry. We have around 70,000 customers globally, and it could be from aerospace and defense here to public sector at the other end. So the whole spectrum of 12 industry segments are what we try to cater. When we focus and limit our industry segments, then only can we go a micro vertical strategy. If we are all over the place, we will not be able to do that. So this is one of the ways that we are clearly keeping our focus into the industry verticals. For people on the call today, we have
Hello?
products. Yes. Hello?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Okay. So I continue. For people on the call today, there could be other interesting products from the Infor stable. One of them is governance, risk, and compliance, which is again globally used by all customers of other ERPs too. Very successful product. Then we have the corporate performance management, which we will look at today. We have the Infor Iron business intelligence tool, which again is agnostic to the ERP that is working. Vivek Agarwal is wanting to say something. Vivek? Vivek, we'll take your call as we go forward, if that's okay. We have the Infor expense management solution, and we have the Infor Iron solution, which I will spend some time on. This is the innovative, disruptive breakthrough approach that Infor is taking towards workflows, integration, and bringing ERP application onto the mobile. So these were some of the other things that we bring to the table for the interest group that's on the call. We can surely look at some of these as we go forward. We will be glad to see if your interest in any of these are there as we go. To also mention the expense management, we will have a 4-slide sneak peek at the end of this session, so we will be very briefly touching on the expense management solution too from Infor. Let's look at the challenges to budgeting and planning process. There is a script that you have on your on your desktop. It primarily captures the state of planning or budgeting with our managers. Jokes apart, there are challenges, clear challenges that come up when planning is looked in any enterprise. We have planning processes that are cumbersome. We have budgeting and forecast cycles that simply take too long. We have Excel sheets which are of many versions floating around. Collating them become a problem. Accuracy becomes a problem. Too much of time spent on gathering data. And the whole thing is that there is an inability to predict performance combined with multiple versions of data. And that makes it really difficult and very cumbersome, this whole process of financial planning. Then let's look at some statistics that our fellow taxation firms are putting up after surveys. This is a survey that was done at 220 organizations. The senior financial executives of 220 organizations were polled. Each of these organizations were 2 billion plus in revenue in various industry segments. And let's clearly look at what's coming out. It's time consuming to prepare a budget, and it's time consuming to generate a forecast. Let's look at the time that 50% of the respondents took to prepare a budget, around 2 to 4 months. And it's significant to also see that even if they had to build a forecast, it took them around 2 to 5 business days or above. 91% took more than that time. So it is clearly a problem that's in some degree or the other every organization is facing. So financial planning and the whole budgeting forecast exercise is a challenge for companies. Now let's look at the accuracy of this. Over the last 3 years, the same set of survey people have polled saying that actual performance has generally fallen within. So you forecast something, what is the real performance? It is plus minus 3 to 5% of forecast to 10% of forecast. So up 90% of the people are having a variation from, or 50% of the people, if you take 34 plus 10, 44, 56% of the people are actually doing a forecast which is varying anywhere between 6 to 21%. And how is your company looked at from a forecast perspective? Either it is very conservative or there is overestimating and it's optimistic. So it's been really tough times to do forecast, capture the actual performance, compare and see how close you are to forecast. So gentlemen and ladies on the call, I'm trying to only emphasize something that you may know, that this is a challenging area, the whole financial planning, the budgeting, forecasting capability. That is the reason we are here on this call, just to see how we can help as Infor with our tool. Also, another aspect that we want to see is strategies and budgets. Why do we do budgets? Why do we do forecasts? Why do we capture actuals? The whole idea is to also see whether we can do a good job tracking that and then also feeding it into the next version of the budget or the next year's financial budget in a manner that we are able to be closer to the strategy that we want to achieve in the company. So the whole financial management, budgeting, forecasting, financial consolidation, execution, is there a feedback loop that goes into what is the strategy of the company? So many a time we do the financial progress independent or disconnected from what the strategy of the company is. So we have a chance here, to do the purpose, to make the purpose of annual budgeting and planning progress to feed into the strategy so that you clearly have a closed loop than having an open loop of just budgeting and planning in one loop and strategy happening in another loop. So collaborative planning process is what we are trying to do here. Give the tools to the users to plan, budget, forecast, and then loop it back into the strategy that they wanted to achieve in that year or in that period of time. One more challenge is the ever-changing demands from governments all over the country or all over the world that IFRS becomes the next compliance challenge for reporting. In India, we've been told from 1st April 2011 to 2014, all types of companies need to comply in a manner in convergence of what we are complying today. How much of it is successful? We all know it. And but this is not only our problem, it's a problem across the world, and this again becomes a challenge to report to after doing all the planning. XBRL compliance. This is again something that is growing. How do we do this? And this is clearly again something that technology can clearly help the XBRL compliance and make it easy, provided we have the platform to do the same. Again, one of the last slides that I have on the challenges is Aberdeen actually did an analysis to find out how could enterprises, or what is the desire of enterprises to improve on their strategies to improve reporting and analysis. And top performing companies were able to, the best in class companies were able to do a benchmark of 36%. They wanted 141 people were surveyed, and 36% wanted to be best in class, and the others, 41% of the other companies desire to have a formal budgeting and forecasting process. So if you see, there is a big desire. This is where our tool is focused on, trying to help companies do a formal planning, budgeting, forecasting workflow process. Then improve data quality. So this was some of the survey questions, but top on the line, top on the need or the request is a formal planning, budgeting, and forecasting workflow process. Again, an analysis from October 2011 that companies have expressed their need for improved reporting and analysis. So what do we have? What does Infor Corporate Performance Management have? Let me just build the whole slide up. You have the ERPs. It could be the SAPs, the Oracles, the Infor products, or any other products that you have in the world. In fact, that and the others that you have as a solution stack within your enterprise. Infor's corporate management gives you a unique application architecture which allows you to build this from strategy to planning to budgeting to consolidation. Planning, budgeting, forecasting, this bit is very essential. But if you don't want strategy, it's optional. If you don't need to consolidate, it's optional. So we have a tool that you can completely do strategy, that feeds into planning, that feeds into budgeting, that feeds into consolidation, and it loops back into the next year's strategy, also to this year's strategy, to find out how much deviation from the original strategy has been achieved. How much have we lacked in the strategy been achieved. This you can also use for reporting. Using if you require, we have the IAN, which is the Intelligent Open Network platform that we have within Infor, which allows you to do workflow approvals, exception rules. All of that can be done, and you can have various forms of reporting, web-based, Excel-based, or just basic text comments or mails that come to your mailbox. So this is the complete solution the Infor Corporate Performance Management has to offer. Let's get into some details as we go forward. Let's look at the solution itself. Again, from an architecture perspective, as I mentioned, another look at it. We have the Enterprise Performance Management, which then has Corporate Performance Management as a part of it. The Enterprise Performance Management also gives you dashboards, analytics, reporting. Sure, there is a bit of reporting and analytics within this Corporate Performance Management itself. But if you use the Infor IAN business, you can actually use the whole enterprise performance management that we offer to our customers. But today, for today's session, we are going to be only focusing on planning, forecasting, and consolidation. It's an IFRS certified product. BDO has certified this on March 31st, 2012, that we are an IFRS compliant product, and it doesn't come easy. The product is itself around more than 30 years of experience. So, under different names, this is the genesis of the product. So I just bring it and bear it with the team here on the call today, because I want you to have the comfort that this is not a new product that we are going to try on you. This is a 30-year-old product which has come in different names, GIAC, Extensity, Infor, and now we call it the Infor Corporate Management. So it's from ComShare, or if you know ComShare, GIAC, this is the product that's always been used globally, and now we have branded it and integrated it and made it far more technically, technologically superior. We call it the Infor Corporate Management Solution. So now you see why we are IFRS certified, why many of our customers of competitive ERP products are using our product. Let's look at what modules it has. If you look at the Corporate Performance Management modules, it has a budgeting forecasting module, zero-based historical rolling plans, collection, tracking, approval process, employee assets, all of that. The reporting, we have multiple reporting, financial reporting, KPIs, scorecards, dashboards, and you can present it in multiple formats, web, Excel, PDF. Of course, each one of them are important based on how you want to report to your organization, within your organization. Then we have the planning tools, the complete currency modeling, allocation rules, all of that. Strategic management is optional. If you want, you can buy it, and we have, economic value added, balance scorecards, and other Six Sigma capability methodologies are supported. We have financial consolidation, which is again across enterprises, legal, statutory, currency, XBRL reporting, all of that is there. So just a high level that we give as a solution for corporate performance management and allied areas like strategic management and financial consolidation. So let's look at some budgeting and planning forecasting challenges, or functionalities. What do we have? We have a complete document budgeting process. We have monitoring, submission, approval. So, when you do this, there is a whole process that you follow. It's not just a tool. How do you get exceptions? How do you combine all the data that comes from different functions and different periods of time into the solution? Multiple versions of budgets, comparison and reporting. You want to do it in Excel, templates of budget collection. It can be prepared and used it across web or Excel. You want to do zero-based or hybrid combination of bottom-up, top-down. Then we have improved budget productivity. The time that is used by the budgeting team can be optimal because here you are actually driving the budget across the organization into the same Excel sheet, which allows you restricted access, and helps you to shorten the budgeting and forecasting cycles. Your data is collected more frequently. You eliminate one-time or unusual events that skews the view because one-times do give a wrong view of what's happening in budgeting and planning. Realistic financial and operational plans. What if scenarios, which is very key and very important for you to push it backward and forward and see where it's all going. Then you have comparisons, time series, statistical benchmark comparisons. If you have other models that you use, or statistical techniques that you use, we support that as forecasting engines. So we generate rolling forecasts. So there's quite a lot of capability. I just want to very briefly mention to you, as I mentioned, this is just a webinar to create interest. We would be more than happy to come across if you see some interest in this and engage with you on a one-on-one basis and help you understand more about what we have to offer. Now let's look at some of the screens. So here is the template screen that we use, which is Excel based, but which drives and pulls data and drives data, collecting of data across your function, across locations. If you see across the years, some of these data are fixed, is not modifiable. Some are modifiable. Some are only available to some user access. So we have clear templates that you can build. You can have flexible data entry controls. So you can decide what data can be changed and what cannot be changed. You can have visual clues for purpose of each. So you can have comments that you leave, direct entry or calculated entry. So if you put a data in maybe this cell here 45,000, maybe the budget here for 2011, all these cells can be automatically pro-rated or apportioned based on a certain sequence or on a certain formula. You can do that. You can include notes. You can smart phase it. You can seed other capabilities that facilitate budgeting process. All this is possible and can be. It doesn't take away. One thing I want to tell my colleagues on the call is we don't compete with Excel. We collaborate with it because that's the only way we can do well. Because Excel really gives you a very, very good interface to manipulate data, while you need controls. That's where our tool puts in the controls on the Excel. Employee asset and budgeting. You have configurable built-in planning for employees. So you can actually create plans for each of your employees, which departments, and what are the budgets you have. So if you want, you can go to that level. Asset budgets, personal salaries, bonuses, commissions, depreciation. All of this can, you can go to the lowest levels of bits of information for budgeting. detailed planning, offline working. So you can actually create this plan and you can actually work offline, connect it, and it connects online and takes the data. So key account, detailed planning for key accounts and measures, information entered into spreadsheets which are automatically totaled. All these capabilities are possible within the tool, and that is where it's brought a lot of excitement to our customers who are using this as a powerful planning and forecasting tool within their organizations. Some of the reporting capabilities, you can actually look at products that you have across the revenues that you have across products, breakup of what are the other costs that you come, gross margin calculations, cash flow statements. You can have organizational unit-wise breakups of periodic, actual and forecast, gross margin reports, quite a lot of things. So, CPM truly is interactive, and it can allow you to deliver the reports or the formats on web, Excel, PDF, and other formats. User-based and statutory. So you can have multiple reporting. You can have user-based access. You can include your GAAP, IFRS, and other management reporting capabilities or statutory requirements that you want. You can have this type of screens where this is one of the strategic management screens which we will see as we go down, where you can actually say what is the strategic, benchmarks or KPIs that you have for each of the things that you are defining. Let's look at reporting and analysis. You will see great improvement in that because you are now able to give this work in a collaborative way. You are able to work it off one sheet or a couple of sheets with different tabs, and you're able to continuously control what data and gather and collate the data at a very short notice. Complete audit trails available. You can share the same information across the organization. So here is strategic management, again an option that we have. It's an optional module, and if you see here, this is the strategic plan, and if you look at how it breaks off, it goes into maintaining the business, profitable growth. These are the objectives that you put as strategies for your year, a couple of years, and what are the functions or what are the influences to that. If you manage these, maybe you can achieve operational excellence, and the color codes will tell you whether they're neutral, they're negative to what your benchmarks are, or are you doing well on each one of them. So there is a lot of graphical tools that you can create, linking your objectives, tactics, measures, and assumptions, and also bringing in all types of attachments to justify what is really happening. And so it gives a global view at the top for the management to understand what strategy they're laying out and what are having impacts. Is the market impacting? Is the raw material impacting? Is the distribution of the product impacting the strategic plans that you have for the year for the organization? Another question, another point that we have is you can also put it in an Excel and see what the outcomes are. What were your targets? What were the activity types that you have? How many periods is this influencing? And how's your outcome? So, you really have KPIs built there too. I have a question from Deepak Garg. What tools available across to check the sales forecast? You can pick the data. Your sales forecast may be in some ERP. You can, or your actual sales would be in ERP. Once you have your sales data in Excel, you can collate the sales data, actual data, and cross-check it with your sales forecast. And you can do this for any periods of time that you have within the time phase that you're looking at. So there are ways of doing that in a very easy manner. As long as your forecasts are in the same time periods, you can roll it and see it to the actual data that's been picked up. Coming back to the strategic planning, another view of that tool, you have strategy, and in strategy you can see your product mix, your design services, or assurances, capabilities of what you want to do, where are you achieving, what is the outcome that is there now, and how priority. So if you look at some of the fields here, you will get a fair understanding of how detailed you can be. What is the impact of each of these perspectives, financial or non-financial? Who is responsible? What are your planned objectives, and when it is starting, and how many periods should it be done in? And of course, you can have notes and stuff like that to capture it. So in brief, it links your individual responsibilities to various initiatives. You can use a scorecard, coloring system to immediately find out how well are you doing this, how well are you going ahead with this. Another look at the screen, as I told you, what is the target, what's the outcome, and where is the variance. You can actually have properties, you can have attachments, discussions. You can lay down as a strategic plan, maintaining business, of profitable growth, brand leadership, and attributes within that, and monitor each one of them. So you can go to that level of detail. Do we really understand what actions lead to profitable growth? Do we really understand that? And the other one is that, do we really understand, is it just profitable growth, or is it something else that's also affecting us? Some activities have a greater impact than we thought. And that, sometimes you look at your targets and say maybe they are softer than what you wanted. You want to maybe revise your targets up the next time. So you have unique reports, and to assess causal relationship between strategic initiatives. You suddenly see insights. That's what I would say. The data gives you information, but today's leaders in their organizations and responsibilities want insight. So here is a tool that will give you insight. And insight, of course, any tool, it depends on how well you use it. But here is a tool which gives you a unified look at what you want to do and give you a sure shot look at insights of the data that you want. Now looking at financial consolidation. You can pull data from multiple sources. So even if you have your multiple ERPs in different companies, you can pull that data using templates. You can have intercompany eliminations, so you don't really need to sit down and manually do the eliminations. It can be done. Post-closing entries, multiple currencies, map from different chart of accounts, complex ownership structures, workflow for submission. All this can be done. So you may do a few things in consolidation, send it back and forth, and then ensure that you get approval, and that's the final version that you want to hold on to. You have built-in audit reports and control. So this is again an optional tool that we have within the corporate performance management suite of products. Some screens that I want to show you here. Complex ownership consolidations. You can actually lay them out, look at the breakups, and create them within the structure. You can automate the financial values and adjustments. You can have full currency conversion and reporting. You can even see what are the currency conversion rules and the forex movement variance analysis that can be done. So you can go to very sophisticated ways of consolidation and also keeping a control on what you want to really see as as part of consolidation, and all the variables that affect the consolidation of the numbers across the organization. Again, a look at the intercompany elimination analysis, journal analysis. So you can actually create this template, and it automatically will eliminate the intercompany transactions that may be replicated. So there is a built-in intercompany reconciliation and elimination functionality, full reporting and audit trials, consolidation adjustments and elimination available, built-in journal entry capability, and it also allows you to facilitate multi-report reporting requirements as GAAP, IFRS management, and other reporting. So this capability is also available within the platform. One of the things that may be coming up to your mind as well, Bino is talking about multiple ERPs. Bino is talking about this Infor CPM tool, which is maybe one of the greatest or latest that we will see. But how do you get all this data back and forth? Very, very important question. Thing that really affects Office of CFO is how on earth is this data from the multiple applications that I have go to an external application, and how does it handle it? So what are some of the challenges that you have there? Very difficult to complicate, and instead of trying to collate data, half your effort or your team's effort is going to just guide the data from the multiple applications into the external application. When I say external, I'm talking of Infor CPM here. This is external to you today, but tomorrow when you buy it, it would be sitting with something in between, more efficient, which will take care and not make it a very technical thing, but more driven by users, business users. Infor has the Intelligent Open Network. We call it Infor IAM. And this is a distinct, disruptive way of usage that our customers are enjoying. This is not on the drawing board yet, but 1,000+ customers within the Infor fold are using this for talking to different applications, as you see here. This could be one of your applications. Using the IAM and using XML, you can connect into, maybe if this is your application for CPM, you can connect. So Infor has brought this big change. None of our competition is able to bring it in. And this is exciting times for us because, as I told you, it is proven on the ground. Companies like Ferrari, companies like Siemens, many large companies are deploying this very successfully across their stack of solutions and leveraging and getting big advantages, benefits out of this, because it doesn't require you to flip your existing application to place something in. So if this is your existing application and if it is able to give XML output, which most of the applications can, it can then talk to Infor CPM or to an Infor solution in the cloud or to one of your hand mobiles like Blackberries or iPads or iPhones or Android phones using motion, and we can also do a lot of analysis around it. Even if it is not XML, we collect the data in a CSV format, but with XML, it will build an unbreakable architecture. So tomorrow, if this application of yours upgrades, suppose you have SAP or Oracle, it upgrades, and we had already connected it, because it has got OAGI standards, which is a bit technical, but I'll be more than happy to be off the call to help any one of you understand that. We are able to not rebuild this because it's XML and OAGI standards. We are able to continue to connect with your application even if you upgrade this application to the newer version. And all this part continues to work. So this is exciting times. Using IAM, we believe that, and we have our customers enjoy the fruits of their already investments that they have done to the new investments like Infor CPM that they are going to do.
Bino, this will be a good time to ask some questions. I think we have one person who would like to ask a question. I'm just going to unmute you, Arul Moji. Arul Moji, are you there? You can please go ahead.
Yeah, very much, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Mr. Modi, please give me your question.
We are a multi-domestic company. We have 16 subsidiaries across the globe, which are all consolidated under IFRS, and then we do a convergence to ICAP to meet the legal requirement of India. Now, in such a scenario, how far this will be fruitful and useful to us from the process perspective? Now, to give a background, we have implemented an ERP called IFS across the globe, through which we get information from a common database. The database is common across the globe, and it is a single ERP implemented in all the places.
So, Mr. Modi, right?
Yeah, Modi.
No, okay. What I understand is your 16 companies globally and the company in India all are on one instance of the application.
Correct.
And we can actually pull all that data, analyze it, and make this available across your application. So you could have one section of your Excel sheet for planning, which has only been inputted, some cells in that is inputted by your New York company, some by maybe a Swedish company, subsidiaries, and you could sit here as a CFO and collate the data and pick it up. So that is one bit of it from a planning perspective. Now, from integrating to your ERPs, we can pull the data from your ERP, whatever is relevant, and make it available for comparisons of forecast versus actuals versus planned or budgeted. So it is quite possible that we can do it. The only point there is that we need to ensure, because you're also doing GAAP as well as IFRS, we need to ensure to take scope a certain part of your implementation first, so that we are able to achieve your highest need first, and then maybe roll it out across your organization so there is standardization within the organization.
Now, more particularly, I would like to say my question will be focused on the audit perspective and the convergence into IGAP. Now, today, the time taken to convert into IGAP is something mammoth for us. It takes a lot of time and effort for us to consolidate and convert into IGAP. Now, specifically to that, with regard to that area, what extent the tool will support us?
The tool does, when you're converting to IGAP, the tool does help you converge very effectively. But as you rightly mentioned, this is something that we will have to look at from a implementation perspective into detail. But it does facilitate and reduce the current time period, because today I believe you're doing the whole thing in Excel.
Of course, see, the problem here is when I consolidate in Excel, if I have to make changes in one of the subsidiary or India company, then when I copy and paste it, even if one line is shifted down, I will have to change the formula once again for the whole process.
Exactly. So in this case, you can build your templates. There may be more time required for building a template for the first time, and then it becomes far more easy because consolidation works on rules. But building the template will require. Now, if there is a change in the statutory requirements, of course, you will have to go and change that. But there is far more, if you look at it not only from your convergence perspective, from an audit perspective, it is wonderful because it keeps a track of everything that is being changed, and it gives you so that you can roll back if not required. So that is
perfect.
Pardon me?
Perfect. That's right. That's the point.
Yes, so you can roll back. But from a convergence, sir, it is very much customer dependent, because you have 16 companies, somebody has 32 companies. The time taken will be a variable factor of what is the size of the complication we are looking at.
Correct. You're right. Maybe off the track we can discuss about it.
I would be more than happy, sir.
Yeah,
yes, I would be more than happy. Come and maybe get into more details of how we can help you with this.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a question from Deepak.
This is from Lakshmi Kanaji. The guy asking how much time is required to implement it.
Sir, Mr. Lakshmi, the point I want to tell you here is, if I cannot give you a certain, like I mentioned to the previous question, I cannot give you a time for implementation because it's a function of what do you scope to implement. If you're going to take just planning, then if you're just 2 companies, it may take you just 2.5 months to do it. But if it is 16 companies, then it will take a little more time. But the whole idea is that we have a tool which is very successful. As we go ahead, you will find the screen that you have on your desktops is all the feedbacks we got from our customers. And if you give me time, I will show you some case studies with names of customers, how they have used it. But to your question specifically, sir, it's a function of what you scope to do first. So I would want to love to sit with you, understand what is your complexity, how complex is your organization laid out, and then maybe even recommend what you should take up for your first implementation. Because this is an ongoing process. You'll agree with me, I guess.
Anyone else have any questions? You can type them in the chat window, or you can click on the raised hand icon, and I'll unmute your microphone. What would drive effective performance-driven decisions?
Pardon me, I didn't get that question.
What would drive effective performance-driven decisions?
Can you just repeat that? I'm sorry.
What would drive effective performance-driven decisions?
See, one of the key things about effective performance, when you say performance, if we have to really start getting performance decisions, first is you need it a little bit integrated. You can't be working with different versions of the Excel sheets. When I say you can't be, today we have a chance to work in a unified manner. All these years we have been doing the same work in different Excel sheets. So I cannot deny that we cannot do that. But it's just a matter of how much time it takes. So if you're looking at effective performance management, one of the key things that you will see is that we need to unify it. We need to be able to integrate it. So once we do planning, we can forecast, and then when we get the actual data and compare it, see the variance. And very important thing is, why you do planning and forecasting is because you are trying to drive a strategy. Now, do you tie this back and see how much of your strategy did you miss out? And if you have missed out something of a strategy, how do you use previous year's planning and budgeting to actually influence and make things better in next year's strategy? So that is where, which will drive effective performance management. And I believe my colleagues and gentlemen on the call, ladies on the call will agree that that is very important. It's not one-off done for the year and left with, but it is something that feeds, it's a closed loop. It has to continue to feed it in a manner that makes it far more effective and become closer and closer to what is realistic.
Great.
Yeah.
Lakshmi has asked another question. He's asking if you can tell him something regarding interface program from ERP.
You tell me something regarding interface. Yes, that's an exciting part, Mr. Garge. That's a very exciting part of the solution that we have. As I mentioned to you about iron, let me just try to take you there. If I can just go there 1 minute. So, this is where it is, sir, and, there is a whole technical or non-technical presentation I can give you where the intelligent open network is the disruptive. This is the most exciting technology which is even being written by a lot of analysts in the enterprise application solution, saying that is making waves for us in the industry. As I mentioned to you, around 1,000 odd customers already using it. So I'm not even telling you something that's going to be delivered 6 months from now. It's already delivered 18 months ago and proven with 1,000 of our customers. We are able to integrate Infor, that is Infor CPM. If you see the screen here, if you see this application can be Infor CPM to any other ERP or any other application. So we are able to use this, define the XML standards once, define the fields once, and then it keeps on working. And this is a big differentiator that we have. While we also have a business vault. So if you want reporting for everything that's happening in 2 of your applications, 1 and 2, you can actually use it. Let me share this example for you, Mr. Garge, that one of our customers, actually, they're large, they are a large automotive company in India, and they've been using all types of best-of-breed solutions. So for transportation, they're using one of the enterprise solutions. Their financials are on different solutions. They buy something different from us, and they also use Iron to integrate the whole thing. So when I say integrate, basically it will give you workflows, it will give you alerts, it gives you the whole capability built into the Iron Intelligent Open Network. So Mr. Garge, if you give me the opportunity to meet you and speak to you, because I won't be able to do much justice on this call, which is going to be out in the next 10 minutes, but I want to just take this time and request you, if you give me time, we can spend some time separately and explain to you in detail about what Iron can do and what it's doing. Yeah. These are some of our customers globally, and you will ask me where our Indian customers. As I told you, we are in the launch phase here. That is the reason we've already talking to some of our existing customers to use this, and they are looking at using it. And we have launched this in the country, and we are going to be sure that maybe in the next 6 months we will have a handful of customers using them in the country. Again, another look for manufacturing globally, customers that are using for financial services, for hospitality, for distribution. Some of very large names, Office Depot, Meyer, Krispy Kreme, BMW, Aston Martin, some big names using it. So we're really excited that, not all of them, let me just tell this again to you, not all of these customers are on Infor ERP, but they are on competitive ERPs too. But we have this value proposition that they have found it very compelling, because of which they are using our solution for the corporate performance management. Universal Studios, they're using our enterprise performance management, which is including the dashboards and the analytics and all that comes with it. So, which corporate performance management is a subset of the enterprise performance management. And these are some of the benefits that we have got, They're using it in the US. Here is a trucking company which is using our solution, Again, enterprise performance management. They've been able to significantly reduce time examining and approving budgets, and they implemented the whole thing under budget and ahead of schedule. Some of the challenges that they had was while they were buying companies, it was not able to consolidate quickly. Huge manual effort in information. Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, healthcare, huge company, 750 million annual, 3,600 employees. They're using budgeting, management, and reporting. Again, they find huge reduction of time in budgets. So, gentlemen and ladies on the call, we really have customers who are, have had great ROIs using this application for their corporate performance management. This is what Dana-Farber had to say about our product. So, gentlemen and ladies on the call, this is what I had to briefly touch upon from corporate performance management. Like I promised you at the beginning of the session, I will quickly show you a 4-slider on what we have in expense management, and I'd be more than happy to again take offline questions or chats, or even chats after this meeting, just to ensure that if there is anybody interested or any questions you have on the expense management. Clearly, there are reasons why expense management, people say, even for a minute when I started looking at the solution, I was wondering, why would you require something like this when you already have a robust ERP? But I know companies, multinational companies globally are using this for compliance perspectives. Like the gentleman who asked the first question, 16 subsidiaries across all over the world. How do you comply? How do you have a standard expense policy across the place? When I say standard, doesn't mean that you give $4 in India and $4 in the US. No. If it is $40 in the US and $20 in India, how do you still comply? How do you make people know that? How do you have a system which will reject or ask for a justification if it is more or less? So here, when I'm mentioning this to you, Infor across all its offices in the whole world are using this application. So we, as they say, the physician is dealt the medicine to himself first. So we are using this application across for standard reporting, business analytics, reducing your process. I just have to scan my expense statements, put it on, explain that based on drop downs within my expense management tool, and my manager approves it and it goes and I get reimbursed. And everything is within certain compliances that you have defined for the India office. And see, again, you don't go into supplier basis, because when you consolidate your travel or your hotel stay across 16 locations or 18 locations in the country or across the world, you're able to drive more negotiation with those suppliers and get better rates. So how do you get that? Using something like expense management that we have. You have expense reports, travel plans, time tracking. We do our timesheets through time tracking within expense management. Payment requests, compliance of policies, and spend analytics. You can, in India we're giving it on-premise, and you can also access or do your expense management from mobile. Accounts payable, general ledger, HR, credits, it integrates to all these systems. No issues at all. It automatically integrates and hits my bank account, whatever is due to me. So, it's a pretty exciting tool, very heavily used by professional services, financial services, manufacturing, retail, food, and health and life sciences. These have been some of our huge customers. If you see, some of these customers are very, very big. Nike, Coca-Cola, MGM, Office Depot, Zeneca, AstraZeneca, GSK. Big companies in the consulting firms also using our solution. So again, a very proven solution. I'll be more than happy to meet any one of you who's raising your hand and want to know more about this. Me and my team could gladly help you know more about it and take a prudent decision if this is required for your company. With this, I've come to the end of my webinar. I really want to genuinely thank each one of you who has patiently given us this time to understand what we have to offer. And for all the gentlemen and ladies on the call, I would be more than happy to reach out. Please do inform us. This is my email. You can drop me a mail, or you can just reach out to the Deepak and his team to help us understand what is it that you want to know more details about. We'll be more than happy to spend some time. In 1 hour, I hope I've done justice to some of these parts, and look forward to hear from all of you. Deepak?
Yeah, thank you very much, Binu. That was great. Very informative session. Before we close, we'd just like to request all of you to just fill in a quick survey, just 3 questions. I'm just opening that up right now. It should pop up on your screen. Request you guys to fill that in. And thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for joining us. I really appreciate it.